There is such a creature in the world. They were discovered by a few people, but it has not been confirmed to exist. We refer to this group of creatures as unidentified mysterious animal. Unidentified organism referred to as UMA.
Hello and welcome to the UMA video series. In occult zoology, the most elusive, it is nothing more than those various mirrors, head freeze frame, evidence, difficult to distinguish between true and false, and bizarre subject figures. It inspires people's imagination all the time. And controversy. Today we will talk about a simple. It's a cliché in zoology. Since the middle of the last century, mysterious creature that made a sensation with a photo. Poker Island sea monster. Before the content begins, let's start with a video. I believe this video already exists. Many friends have seen it on the internet. This was actually May 1989. Japan Public Broadcasting Channel. A clip from the Word Association show. This spoof video. It was first published in a website named Earthrift blog site. But because the website is currently defunct, so we can't confirm its most original data information. The creative origin of the video. That's the theme of this issue. Tiger carving knife sea monster. According to the American writer Michael Newton. The story of this sea monster. Earliest issue. Dang in Australia? In the March 31st, 1965 issue of People magazine. Mysterious zoologist Bernard. In his 1968 book, The Trace of the Ocean Pool. Trace art. The case is described in great detail. Here's what happened in 1960. Brenita. Photographer Robert Lesalek and his wife. Ride a sail with your family. The ship departed from France for a long journey. By mid-1964, their ship, it's near Mackay, Queensland, Australia. Surrender of the sea. There they bought a motorboat. I'm going to spend it on Hook Island in the Whitsunday Islands. 3 months. But during this time, they encountered that bizarre, giant creature. December 12, 1964 at 9 a.m. At that time, Lesalek is inspecting diving equipment in the cockpit. Suddenly I heard my wife shouting, "There's something strange underwater." Therefore, he rushed to the deck with his friend. The latter initially thought it was a twist into S. Huge tree trunk. Silence on a white sand beach, less than a hero. But soon they found that it was more like a giant tadpole-like creature. A gigantic head. Attached to the back is a slender, pliable body. The overall length is approximately 9 meters. Lesalek. Golden Retriever brought to 16mm cameras. They drove a boat with this behemoth. Maintain a certain distance. I circled him excitedly for half an hour and took down a few still photos. That shadow. They're not moving. They saw that the animals had a long 1.5 meters of white wound, plus those pale eyes. Judging that he may have died. So they decided to try using underwater cameras. However, After launching the water, they found that the water is not as clear as imagined. They have to get close to the serpent, to a distance of about 6 meters, to see the strange features. Here's Lesarek's general description of life. He has a big head. Thickness and jaw width are approximately 1.2 meters. The lower jaw is very flat like a lizard. Skin as smooth as a shark. No scales were seen. The overall color is black. Shallow head. Some areas gradually turn brown. The eyes are almost white. They estimate the actual length of this large snake is 23 to 24 meters. The head is 2.5 to 3 meters long. The mid-body length about 7.5 meters. It tapers away. Form edges. He has no spine. And spine. They don't even have anything like a breathing hole. Just as they were about to take a closer look, suddenly the creature's mouth opened in a threatening manner, like a skinny sea eel. One by one. But its body is barely moving. His head began to turn in the direction of the two. They snapped a few pictures. Then he turned and fled back to the boat. The motor also stops at this point. The ship doesn't have enough fuel to support itself, and the monster started to move. He starts to swim sideways slightly, roll up a cloud of dust, and then through the cracks in the reef, flowing to the sea, disappear. That's the only thing they have, and the last time I saw this creature. Before the film comes out, Mr. and Mrs. Leselek and Hank Darren, and I've been cautiously silent about it. Until 2 months later, February 4th, 1965. The process of events. Handed over to the media with the photo. But we can confirm, these are the only ones that appeared in the original magazine. Other versions are lost due to information loss, or network information complexity. Unable to confirm. 1967. Lesarek and his wife published their co-author written books, Around the World, a detailed account of 5 years of maritime experience, and mentioned the sea monster. But because the book has not yet been released into the apartment, so I can only find a few content previews spiritually. Speculation about the authenticity of the incident. Polarization is serious. The appearance of photos. It soon attracted the attention of the occult zoology community. Because Lesarek first contacted the US media. Attempt to obtain photos for sale. The best price. So things first. The report was sent to American occult zoologist Ivan. Professor Sanderson. The latter contacted. Experts from Fawcett examined the glue. The conclusion reached by the film proves that the photo shows no signs of being doctored. Then he was again that month. Immediately contacted Bernard Heuvelmans and proposed 3 possible explanations. The first, he thinks the monster is actually the US Navy. A sausage-shaped plastic bag for hauling gasoline experiments. Second, it is possible it's a deflated high-level contour balloon. Fell into the sea, and eventually covered with weeds. Formed a huge shadow. The third, he thought it might be a huge piece of cloth, deliberately tied up and thrown into the water. It's an illusion. However, Professor Heuvelmans, the first of possibilities are rejected in the text, because the US Navy has said They didn't find any drag. Records of objects lost near Australia. And even if there is, nor does it match the biological forms described by eyewitnesses. And high-level confinement balloons are even less likely. Let's suppose the balloon exploded in the sky. Then he would have disintegrated in the air. If it is pierced in the air, will slowly fall and regain air pressure support. The timer really fell into the ocean and stayed long enough. What about those marine plants and corals? We'll also tear it to shreds. And the third theory? Consider a deliberate deception to be the most likely. Now, Professor Heuvelmans here is making the hypotheses. First discovered by chance on the bottom of the sea. The term for the remains of snakes. In fact, it hints at the scam. And give him eyes and rings. Make him look more believable. This is easily done in 1.8 meters of water. Of course, it is also possible. This is itself a plastic sheet glued together. Made object? It was held in place under the sand in the sea. Formed the image of a sea monster. In general, he thinks, the Hook Island sea monster looks very strange. Because most vertebrates, especially fish, the eyes are on the side. Hardly anything like tiger knife sea monster. Creature pointing up. Although, and so are the eyes of squid and flounder. But their eyes are closer to their noses. And here's the thing. Professor Heuvelmans spent time investigating Leslie-Lec's background. It was discovered that he had a large amount of debt in France. Outstanding. And he was in 1959. That's the year before we go to sea. He tried to invite some young people to join him. And committed to this expedition. It will be economically fruitful. As well as paying the crew a considerable fee. And he also said that, stocked up on something that could bring in a lot of money. This is most likely related to sea snakes. He is also wanted by Interpol. Because of the supplies he bought. Not paying enough. In short, it's what we call an old man. When he returned to France, he was quickly sentenced to 6 months in prison. And this also became the cause of this water monster incident. And Leslie-Lec, the least credible factor. This led to some later scholars. And the media are all based on this. To demonstrate the deceptive nature of the Hook Island sea monster. Believe in front of the screen, I have known some friends in these worlds. I think so too. But in fact, this view is just speculation. Because all the evidence is circumstantial. Leslie-Lec later. He's never been interviewed. In 2003, Swedish occult zoologist young Bofu Senberg announced 75-year-old Leslie-Lec was found, now living in Asia, and indicates that an interview is expected to be arranged, but the time of publication was not further disclosed. Sandberg. He died in Motara in June of 2011. So far, I haven't found him in 2,000 years. Published works. Professor Evanson of Sen. In the July 1965 issue of Real magazine. Published another guess. Indicates that the creature may belong to a abnormal body shape. Striped and gillfish. Also called marble-full fish. This is a type native to Central America and swamp eel of South America. The greens are similar to the yellow eel we know. Slender body. It's cylindrical. The largest known individual has a body length of 1.5 meters. You breathe on your gills while you're in the water. On land, it uses the lining of the mouth and throat. Take a breath. Night planet with frogs. Feeding on insects such as fish and spiders. Of course, Professor Sanderson only expressed the animal form depicted in the photo. Just a match with a giant nuclear stuffed animal. Because the size difference between the two is really huge. The strangest thing to me is Professor Heuvelmans of Bernard District. In this sea snake trail, the sightings of sea snakes and sea monsters divided into 9 types, and one of them very similar to the image of the Hook Island sea monster. That is Hoang sea snake. The yellow rich sea snake here, not another name for the room temperature sea snake we know, but an unknown large sea monster. Shaped like a tadpole. The body is usually a very noticeable yellow. Black stripes on the spine. Black horizontal bands on both sides to hit the flat head and the lyrical body. The tail is long, tapered to the back. Overall length is between 60 and 100 feet. Mainly represented by the Nestor sea monster in 1876. Because of the classification in Professor Heuvelmans' book, is relatively rigorous, unable to confirm, and morphological individual abnormalities description report will be listed as a separate category. So, for the Hooker sea monster, is it still extravagant memory for the Emperor's father? I think it's worth considering. In 2013, British paleontologist Aaron Nash, and I've expressed this in my blog. Suppose the hooker is a hoax. Then Lesurek. It was the inspiration for the giant tadpole sea monster. Is it possible that it is from Hoang High Society? Because of the sea snake. This book was published in 1968. But his predecessor, French work Sea Snake, it was actually released in 1965. To entertainment was late before March of the year. I got a copy of the secretary, and through the concept of Hoang High Society in this book, carried out a series of scam work. A more detailed investigation is required. In fact, I personally think, for the Hook Island sea monster incident, the most unacceptable, it should be the number of photos. According to Lesurek's interview transcript, he should have left enough marketing evidence. But whether it was later paper eyebrows or magazines, the photos he submitted were only a few of these spiritual pictures, and there was no underwater angle. Not to mention the issue of credibility. And as for the fish school theory, which is currently popular on the internet, I don't think it makes sense. It's a school of fish. You must first admit the authenticity of the photo. You can't argue with that. Biometrics observed up close by Lesurek. The real and fake photos of the Hook Island sea monster. So far, there is no definite conclusion for this half-century-old mystery. I think the most fascinating thing may not be the truth itself. In the era without Photoshop, anyone who has a screen impact, image retention beyond people's awareness, could be world-shattering news. This evidence, it also reflects the ambivalence of human beings towards the unknown. Both aspire to use reason to structure these mysteries, and secretly expect miracles in the world beyond honesty. And perhaps that's what the occult is all about. Okay, that's the last sentence. The unknown is always greater than the known. That's the beauty of Yuma. This video is here. Thanks for watching.